Narayan Murthy also mentioned that, young professionals must look at working about 70 hours a week.
Your life, your wish. You want to work 70 hours, you will have 70 hours of experience. You want to work 20 hours, you will have 20 hours of experience. There are people who will happily work 100 hours. Tell me who gets ahead in life by working 20 hours a week?
Gen Z, as students, how difficult are they, or how easy are they, or how different are they?
What is today's generation? It's restless. They're extremely distracted. Can you blame them? No.
Desk job. Do you think that is another trend that has come in? I want a desk job. I don't understand what a desk job is.
Desk job is a job without a target, without accountability on a weekly basis. That's a desk job.
Welcome to the latest episode of the Guwahati Connection podcast series. Just so you know, this is not a sponsored episode. This episode is an eye-opener on MBAs, the education system, and the future of startups, and of course, where all of this is headed. With me today is Joutishman Dutta, who is the Managing Trustee of a very prestigious university here in Assam. He comes from the legacy of downtown hospitals. Joutishman Dutta, or JD as he is fondly referred to as in the university, graduated from Delhi University and then completed his MBA in finance from Narayan Murthy in Mumbai. The next shot that you see on screen will be with him. If you have seen this and you like what we've been producing, be sure to subscribe to the Gplus YouTube channel and follow us on Instagram, Facebook and our Spotify channels. So first and foremost, welcome to the show. Now I would first request you to establish your Guwahati connection. What is your Guwahati connection?
Guwahati Connection is I was born here. So that's the first connection. I spent half my life, my academic life here. I'm working here. By the looks of it, I'll end up dying here also. So I think it's a life to death situation is Guwahati. That's for me. So everything I have done in life has been more or less in and around Guwahati, except a short span when I was not there while I was studying. So Guwahati is life.
Right. And where did you study?
I studied initially Don Bosco, Pan Bazar. I was there for a duration till about class 6. Then I was sent off to boarding school in Balipara, school called Assam Valley School. Then Delhi, then Bombay. So been jumping around almost for 11, 12 years studying all across. And then came back here eventually to work.
And college life was fun. How was college life?
College life was very interesting because I studied in a boarding school. When you study in a boarding school, you're used to a very set schedule. You wake up at X time, you go at 9 o'clock to school. The concept of bunking doesn't exist in a boarding school, may exist in a normal school. So not me, a few of our friends, we landed up in Delhi University. For the first semester, we behaved like school kids only. Then we realized end of the semester, we were the only ones attending classes. All the classes, because the concept didn't dawn to us that this is college now. Things are not the same. But obviously, after one semester, we realized college is different. It's a little chill. It's not really school.
Then how did that attitude change from your college to your MBA in Bombay?
MBA is more chill actually because MBA is a lot to do with self-study and self-work. In terms of number of classes, I don't know now the situation overall. What is the situation? When I was studying in that college, actual classes were just 3 hours a day. So rest of the time was project, working together on things like that. So purely in terms of classes was very less. It's not a lot of classes. And it was very, there was not a fixed schedule like every day we have class at 9 o'clock. There were days we had class from 6 to 9. So the whole day we actually had nothing to do in a way. That was to be spent on project work. That was very interesting. From fixed schedule in school, fixed schedule in Delhi University, my college was very flexible. So that was again a very interesting space when I was in Bombay.
Right. And then now that you've spoken about this, how did you come up with the idea of establishing a university? How did that happen?
And to say that one fine day Eureka moment happened, it never happened like that. We were already into education on a very small scale. Many people were not aware. Actually, our first education institute was set up in 1993. When the hospital started, it was it's like, how do I go? It was like an integration moment backward. Assam did not have nurses. Assam did not have nurses because there were hardly any nursing institutes. So in many ways, we were forced to set up a small nursing institute. Very good. So the nursing institute was set up. Then we were kind of forced to set up paramedic institutes because there were no trained paramedics in Guwahati. And then it went on and on. Then we saw there was a decent response for these institutes. So somewhere around early 2000, the plan had come that we need to move to a larger education campus or something like that. See, things are very vague when you start. There's no very clear plan that we'll set up a university. Then we started looking for land. Then this project happened. This university per se was also because of the government of Assam. The government of Assam somewhere in 2008 said that private universities are allowed in Assam. And at that very moment, we were actually building this campus without a clear-cut agenda that would be a university. So timing is again something that you have to give credit to it. So between all these aspects, the university was born in 2010.
So everything kind of fell together also.
Something, yeah. There was a plan, but the university was not a plan, and education campus was a plan.
So you come from a family of lineage and a lot of legacy. Before I get on the legacy bit, would you consider yourself as a successful entrepreneur or a successful businessman?
It's a very complicated question. What do you mean by success? I'm happy at my current situation today. That's how I would like to put it. 10 things have gone right. 20 things have gone wrong. Successfully 19, no one knows because we've been very good at hiding that. So it's a very long journey. I'm happy where I am, but lots of things needs to be done.
For our audience and viewers today, because who would look at your conversation and would hear you, can you share an interesting high moment and a low moment both?
High moment has been perhaps, see, I told you this university, as you mentioned, I can sit here and say it was a brilliant plan, was as honestly everything fell into place. So when actually we started the initiative of setting up the university, it was some things really fell in place. You have to give credit to the stars and also to the government. So I think in a span of almost 12 to 14 months, we could get the process of applying for the university to getting the university. That was a very high moment for us because coming from a very local background, yes, we are an established group, but honestly not a scale or size that can set up a university, to frankly say so. So that was also a great moment when we thought we can set this up. We felt very happy. We felt very responsible. And also we could see there was a long journey ahead. So that was a very high moment. Low moments, trust me, comes every month.
Every month?
Every month. Because when you're setting it up like that, every month you plan something, every month 10 things go wrong. So I wish I could give you one moment. I think every month comes one low moment, but you come out of it.
Okay. Since you've put it like that, then I will not prod into more. Tell me about the negative moments. But now coming back to the family of legacy, there is the looming N word. Okay, the nepotism word.
It's not an N word. You can say the whole word.
Well, the point is people consider it differently. But now that you've also seen it, you also understand. Do you think it is the success of your group or your institution also is encouraged by the fact that you come from a big legacy?
Absolutely. As I said, today when you are standing in a position, your success has to come on, is backed by 20 things.
Right.
That legacy is very, very important, especially when we are into things like healthcare and education. In healthcare and education, the most important aspect is trust.
Right.
Trust cannot be built overnight. There are some products and some services, perhaps you can launch it in a big way. You can advertise and you can say that we are launching. They can create an excitement for a product. But these two things, these two services, as I would put it, is hugely dependent on trust. And trust takes decades and decades. So that trust has definitely positively affected us when we have gone from healthcare to education. There is no denying it at all. And obviously, when you have the legacy, see, there is a formal education, school, college, MBA, vagara. There's an informal education that's happening with you since you are practically a child. So when I'm sitting here, I may have formal 3 degrees. Informally also, I have 3 degrees, which I don't have documentation for. That comes from legacy. That comes from being part of a family that's into entrepreneurship or some kind of business. So that definitely helps. The day one of my work life is actually not my day one of my work life officially. So you can't deny that. So you already have in many ways bits and pieces of 5 to 10 years of experience, which is not documented. I don't know where you're getting what I'm trying to say. That's a huge boost when you start work.
Right, right. So now, how do you think education in the Northeast has evolved? We can take the period as, say, pre your college time and the current situation. How do you think that education space has evolved?
So I think in Northeast, especially Assam, people really value education. I don't have any doubt in that. You must have seen that we like to study the Assamese people and we respect people who are educated. But you must have seen there was a space. When we started off, perhaps you must have seen, I'll just take the example of medical colleges in Assam. We set up the last one in perhaps 60s. Assam lost 1970s and 80s. I think it's not just education. We lost in almost in every aspect. Just take the example of medical colleges in Assam. The last one was, I think, set up in 1960, and then after that till 2010, nothing was set up. So 20, 30 years was lost in Assam, not just in education, in everything. That really pushed us back. Private education perhaps started in South India in 1950s and 60s. If you tell private technical education in Assam, South India or North India, started somewhere in 70s and 80s. We had a lot of, say, we know Manipal, it's a household name. There are large chains in Pune, which are very famous. Pune was a hub.
Right.
In the 80s and 90s, a lot of people from Assam went to Pune to study. No one went to study in a government college. They all went to study in mostly private colleges. So we lost about 20, 30 years there. So that was lost. Is private education important? In many ways, it's important. It gives a variety. There's nothing wrong in private government education, but it always has limited scope in terms of numbers because government's agenda is a little different. So I think in early 2000, a lot of people started setting up across Northeast private education institutes. It takes decades to grow in terms of stature, in terms of quality. That variety has been added now, which was not present. So once variety is added, what is added is also the trust. In perhaps the late 90s, early 2000, of scope because of your law and order situation, a lot of students wanted to go out. Now, at least what we have seen, the new generation is very open to the idea of staying back in Northeast, including education and obviously work beyond education. So both have to go hand in hand. So that I see is a huge positive change.
That's a very well addressed. It's like you were expecting this question. Is that the case?
Not really. It's expected that people will ask some things which are asked repeatedly to me.
But one thing I want to understand, what kind of courses are people preferring here? You could give me a reference from EduTU, or you could give me a reference from outside. What do you think is a preferred course that people want to study here?
See, if most of my students come from Northeast, there's a varied interest. See, I'll tell you just one small example of education in India. South India is obsessed with engineering. Like we have a cliched statement that what do Indians want to become? Doctor or engineer. Medical, there is a craze in Assam and Northeast. Engineering, our craze is comparatively less to other parts of the country. I'm not going to say they are not wanting to become computer science engineers, but there is no obsession like in perhaps the south of India. So that is a change. Here, people are willing to study multiple programs. Services, again, is something that students want to work as. You have to look at not education as education. You have to look at the job. Our students don't want to work in automobile engineering, perhaps. I'm not going to say this is for everyone. Our students would not want to work in a large manufacturing plant, perhaps, but they would love services like healthcare, like hotel management. Services is a preferred career choice for our students. Hence, you have to relate it to the program that they're studying. And engineering is what almost 50-60% of students in India are going towards engineering. In Northeast, it's less the craze.
All right. That again, very, very interesting insight. Not a lot of people may have been aware of this, considering that the current generation that you're dealing with is Gen Z.
Gen Z.
As students, how difficult are they, or how easy are they, or how different are they? They are different. First, we have to acknowledge that they are very different.
Fortunately or unfortunately, from the day we started, we've only had Gen Zs. So we have not had a legacy of 50 years. So I cannot compare the older generations.
But you can compare them to students of your time or your background, yourself.
What is today's generation? It's restless, very high aspirations. They're extremely distracted. Can you blame them? No. They are distracted because they have everything in an app. They have entertainment in an app. They have access to all the information in the app. They have access to all misinformation in their mobile phone, in the app. So they are filled with aspirations, which is very great, very impatient, very, 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 you can say a very short attention span. So these are things I think not related to education. I think in any industry, people will say that of this generation. Even in your office today, if an 18-year-old is joining, I think you would have the same feedback.
Of course.
So this is the fact with this generation. Good, bad, I don't know, but this is how this generation is.
And as someone who heads an institute, who runs an institute, how do you tackle that? Do you try actively tackling that?
Well, how do you tackle a habit of the generation? You don't really tackle. You have to teach what has to be taught. You have to maybe improvise in the way you're teaching. And you have to engage the students. Everything in the university is not just about academics. Things are also beyond academics. They have 10 interests. You have to cater to perhaps at least 9 of them. Education and beyond education. That's all I can say.
may sound like a tira question, but colleges are not preparing students to be job ready. What's your take on that?
Who said?
It's an industry assessment, and then thereby.
You want a politically correct answer or the right answer?
Blunt answer. You can give me the right answer.
Have you met an unemployed MBBS doctor? So medical colleges are providing job ready students? Yes or no?
Okay. Again, you have spoken about a very specific discipline where there is massive shortage also. There's a massive shortage, I feel. Doctors are also not willing to. Let's not get into doctors as an industry.
See, this is a question that has been going on for 15, 20 years. I have a take on that. Since the time of Nalanda, this question has been going on. It will go on another for 100 years. What is the fact in it? I'll tell you the fact in it. The fact is you have to bring it down to something more smaller. Is take programs program-wise. Say, let's take the most common program that students aspire for. Computer science engineering. I don't think a student who passes out computer science engineering doesn't know coding. It's a very basic. I'm simplifying it. But there are 1,000 coding jobs. There are 10 languages. There are permutation combinations of 10 profiles. One student would not be suitable for 100 profiles. They would be suitable for 10, maybe 20 profiles. Take it at that. We need to take everything with a pinch of salt. Things are not as simple as things sound, okay? You will not find, you try recruiting people with 10 skill sets, you will not find them. But what is the exact program for the skill set? They don't exist. See, for example, today you go to a government college or even a private college. There's a program called BA in Pol Science. Do you think if you're a first class first from Guwahati University in BA Pol Science, you're bad? He's an expert in Pol Science, yeah? Why will you employ them as? Nowhere. Is there a job for Pol Science? No. Then you call the students are not industry ready. Is the student not industry ready?
Or the correct
curriculum is perfect. So you have to understand it. Out of 100 programs, 50 are academic programs. When you do this industry assessment in academic programs and you say they are not JAP ready, the questionnaire is flawed.
Do you think at some level, overall policies have to change, that there has to be a certain segment that makes them at least ready for something, say bare minimum? However, you could be an expert in Pol Science, you may have been first class first, but then there is 20% of your curriculum that prepares you for 80% of what is reality in life. Not everyone becomes an expert in, say, the field of political science. I am only asking because now that you've...
I understand your question, but some questions I can give you a very 10 seconds, yes, you're right answer, or I can give you the true answer. You have to understand academics doesn't work like industry ready as you're putting it. You have a passion for English. You study BA English. What are you good at? You're great at English, yeah. What does the job says? Job says today you have to be digitally proficient. So I would say there is 3 modern day traits that you need to have irrespective of what your curriculum is. Digital proficiency is a must. Financial proficiency is a must. Communication proficiency is a must. You may study agriculture, you may study MBBS, you may study nursing, you may study BBA. These 3 proficiencies are a must. Now the question is it part of the curriculum? Some colleges may be, some colleges may be not. Because the conventional logic is, I am today studying BA in Bengali. Why do I need to spend 100 hours in digital proficiency? That means I'm taking those 100 hours from studying core Bengali literature. Just Bengali is a random example. To maybe doing Excel, maybe doing advanced Excel, maybe doing digital marketing. So there is 2 schools of thought. Which school of thought is right? I don't know. Otherwise, a second thought is 1,000 hours in BA Bengali I'm teaching you. I'm going to add on 200 more hours of this so-called industry-ready skills. Great point. Does it help? Does it not help? It's a very complex answer. Right? It's very easy to question it. But you have to see program-wise. Say out of 100, those 50 which are absolutely industry-oriented programs, you will not have this problem. Especially in a university like us, I don't think you will have a problem. Even in a good government college, you will not have a problem. But you have to see who are you assessing and what parameter are you assessing. If you do a blanket assessment, you will come up with a very generic cliched answer.
So at some level we agree, do we also agree that a job ready candidate is also an attitude inculcation?
Absolutely true.
How do you think an MBA student stands out from the lot of MBA students that are being produced? There are so many memes, videos and content around MBA. यार ऐसे बकरी की तरह बनते जा रहे हैं, ऐसे ऐसे बनते जा रहे हैं. But How do you, because you have a background in MBA, how do you make that one candidate stand out?
See, this is a very, don't mind, cliched conversation. वो मीम बनता है, मीम बीटेक का भी बनता है, बीटेक जर्नलिस्ट का भी बन सकता है. Anything can become a meme. It's very difficult for me to say. See, what does MBA student will end up doing? You have to understand the industry is very complex. You've done your MBA. What are you going to do after that? It works like that. Are you going to take a career in entrepreneurship? You need different skill sets. You're going to work in sales, different skill sets. You want to work in perhaps a core admin job, different skill sets. So I can give you one blanket answer. It's not very easy like that. Again, I'm trying to say what you need to be very good at. See, there's some theory you need to know, 4 P's of marketing, vagara, you need to do. You have to know how to sell. That ego of when you are a salesman, there's an ego that guys come disappears. Any MBA graduate, I think firstly, the ego has to disappear. You have to sell no matter what the industry is. That is a fundamental truth. Most students will say, I don't want to sell. I want a proper thinking job. Tell me one company or one service that actually is not selling. Everyone is just selling. They're selling A, B, C, D, X, Y, Z, but they're selling. That is one thing I would tell every MBA student to be mentally prepared for. They have to sell. Secondly is that, again, I would try to say today in this digital world, first class first, 99% makes no difference if you're not fundamentally savvy with technology platforms. Digital marketing is the way forward. Can you not understand it? You have to have the understanding of it, basic or advanced. Everything works on PowerPoint, everything works on Excel. You have to understand it. Worst case, from last year, I think we are seeing the nascent AI revolution. I don't know what will happen in the next 4 to 5 years. All students have to understand how to use these tools, how to exploit these tools, how to perhaps sell with these tools. That's a fact. So this next 2-3 batches are going to have more fundamental challenges perhaps that they did not face 5 years ago. So that is the fact that I would tell a student. As a college, we teach hundreds of things. You can judge 100 students and come up with 100 different answers.
My point of asking you is this because, like you rightly said, there is an entire line of, freshly graduated MBA students that make a desk job. Do you think that is another trend that has come in? I want a desk job. I don't understand what a desk job is.
Desk job is a job without a target, without accountability on a weekly basis. That's a desk job. I will tell you in simple terms. This is what we hear day in, day out.
Okay. We know the 4 P's of marketing. Now, there are 2 P's and 2 D's that, have come across in some of our research. Pronunciation, presentation, diction, and delivery. Do you think among faculty available in this region in particular, that is still not at 100%? Not up to mark. How can you, or can you tell us about the difficulty in accessing good faculty in the Northeast?
See, again, I'm saying we are a very academically oriented society. We have good people, academically very good. See, I have a student perhaps from Tejpur University who is excellent in management, who has a very good grasp of theory. When you come to teach, maybe what is lacking is perhaps a practical exposure of the person. Industry exposure generally in Northeast is less than many other cities in India. I don't think I have to say that. Everything we understand that. So as a faculty, I would love a faculty ideally who perhaps is very good academically, has 2, 3, 5 years experience. Maybe when you're teaching sales, who's done 2 years of sales, who's teaching marketing, done 2 years of marketing. It just is a wish list. That may be missing. See, that is, you cannot only blame it on the person. You have to see the region also. This region comes with its own disadvantage and advantage. That is a regional disadvantage perhaps that we have. Otherwise, in terms of academic strength, I don't think anything is lacking. When you talk about pronunciation, diction, I think as the entire course is delivered in English, overall the English standards of a faculty here is much better than other places in the country. I am not making this up. I visit universities pan-India. I don't want to take a name of a university, perhaps a very famous university in North India, public university. I went to meet the first student. This is just simplifying the conversation. Brilliant. Their diction is nowhere near as good as our faculties perhaps passing out from the universities here. So that is an advantage that we have. I will admit it. Perhaps similarly in South. What they lack is the overall exposure of it. That I would say there is a lacking in that.
For fresh graduates, do you recommend that once they get their degree, they move to a Delhi, Bombay, tier 1 city, work a job for some time, figure out the schedule? Or do you think that they can also start in a tier 3 city like Guwahati and grow ground up?
See, I'm trying to break up your questions.
Yes.
We say job as job. A job is not a job. Let's take the program.
Okay.
See, every job has different aspirational levels. I am studying, say, for example, nursing. I am again reiterating healthcare because healthcare is a large industry that somehow is not even considered as an industry. What is my, say, when you're doing computer science engineering, what's your dream job? Google.
Right.
When I'm studying perhaps nursing, what is my dream job? Central government job. So does it really matter I go out or not? If I'm studying civil engineering, what do you think is my dream job? Perhaps L&T? Perhaps PW department, government of Assam? What's wrong in that? So you have to understand jobs as jobs. Now, if I'm saying I want a career in banking, retail banking, so I end up joining a branch perhaps in Guwahati. Let's take a great private bank, HDFC Bank. I get my first job as assistant manager. I get a salary of 5 lakh. Bangalore's offering me 7 lakhs. 5 lakh is a much better deal than 7 lakhs. Exposure is also great. You can always move out. Whether you will have a different experience in Bangalore, absolutely yes. But what you are looking for is something you have to decide. Can you grow up to the head office after 10 years? Yes, you can do that by being posted in Guwahati as well. You can do that by being posted in Bangalore as well. But sometimes when you see your salary, your CTC, the quality of life is not bad in a tier 2 city. It's not bad to start your life. It's not bad to be in a position when you really want to save money. So that is one thing. Second, in some industries where you have less exposure, perhaps IT you have less exposure. Do we have IT companies here? So let's be honest about it. So if I am joining IT, I have very limited options here. If I'm joining as a freelancer or a gig worker, excellent. If I want to join a core company, Google, Microsoft, Cognizant, options are very limited here. So again, you take the job, I'll break it up to 10, 20 different jobs. Every job would have a different answer.
All right. I hope the students who watch this also understand that, it is very specific to what kind of stream that they're pursuing. That
Absolutely. It's very specific answer. It's not a blanket answer I cannot give you for every program. There is not one answer.
smartly handled, JD. Very, very smartly.
Thank you.
Now, coming to that big 70-hour question also, Narayan Murthy also mentioned that, young professionals must look at working about 70 hours a week. Your agreement, disagreement on that? Do you think it's okay?
Your life, your wish. You want to work 70 hours, you will have 70 hours of experience. You want to work 20 hours, you will have 20 hours of experience. You think you want to relate your experience to an hourly rate, your life. You want to relate your experience to a lifelong building, your life. See, I cannot give you an answer for that. People look at life very differently. There are people who will happily work 100 hours. Tell me who gets ahead in life by working 20 hours a week.
How long do you work?
Depends on a week. Some hours 30 hours, some hours 60. It's difficult to put this in hours, okay? Responsibility is beyond office hours. 9 to 5 is very cliche. Those days are gone. You're hired for a responsibility nowadays. Tomorrow, do you think your boss or your organization work cares you get in at 10 or 11? You have a responsibility to run an organization to deliver 10 things. If you're delivering, that's all that matters. That is the reality in today's world. Accept it.
Wow, I need to take a breather. The kind of information and the answers that you've given, I really, truly appreciate it.
Thank you.
And this is not just me telling you. I really feel like these answers are legit, practical. These are practical answers.
This is not an answer. This is what I see. I'm just sharing what I see.
Now, let's talk about a little bit about the startup culture. We're coming to the end of the question. So just a few more left. Let's talk a little bit about the startup culture. Are you in support of that?
Absolutely.
Do you think it is a bubble? Do you think it may burst? What is the future of startups in India?
There's a very glamorous word, startups. I would like to break it into an unglamorous word. It's about students while in college aspiring to do business. It's a beautiful thought. Why not? I certainly still believe in India, except 4 or 5 regions, 4 or 5 communities, people don't look at business as a career. There is still a taboo word with business, especially look at us. This is Assam. I don't know. So especially in Northeast areas like, forget Northeast, over in Eastern India, there is no culture of business. I think you would admit that. Why not? Startup, fancy word, there's legal definition. I don't want to get into that. You at 18, 19 aspiring to do business is a great idea. So society accepting an 19-year-old trying to do business is a great idea. Parents accepting you trying to do business is a great idea. I see nothing wrong in that. Bubbles and all are stories in economic times about one startup being overvalued. Let's keep it aside for a while. I don't want to get into that controversy. Someone valued at X, Who valued them in X? Not me, not you.
You preemptively answered my question, because that is the follow-up question. Okay, I understand. There's a lot of thrust on startups and building this culture, that culture, and this endorsement and DIPP endorsement. So many things are happening around the startup ecosystem. There are random inflated valuations happening. कंपनी कल खोला, आज 100 मिलियन की कंपनी हो गई. किस बेसिस पे, क्या बेसिस? That is why my the additional question to this was the entire inflated bubble. Are they in for a shock when these young entrepreneurs, when they go into the market, they are creating products which people are not buying, or they see that there is no buying potential also? Are they just waiting for that dream to pop and they're like, yaar, oh, naukri hi theek tha?
See, different take.
Go for it.
How is something valued in $100 million? Someone thinks you are valued in $100 million, is willing to give you $10 million for 10% stake. That is what companies' truth are. It's about a story. If an investor buys the story you're worth 100 million, you're worth 100 million. So let's not blame it. Let's not call it a bubble. These investors are not juveniles. They are not novices. They are multi-billionaires. They are multi-billion-dollar corporations who have 50, 60, 100 years of God knows experience in running business. They value you scientifically. They value your potential scientifically. Yes, you may have an opinion how. They do it scientifically, let's be honest. And trust me, capital is a very funny thing. At one end, we have saying that we have no money. In one end, I know funds which are sitting on so much money, they say we have no ideas. That is the whole, I don't know, the world is a contradiction. I think funding is a contradiction. There are billion-dollar funds waiting for ideas, and there are people waiting for 1 lakh to start a business. That is the contradiction, sad or bad. That is how valuations work. But my issue is, you have a great idea, someone valued at 100 million, they see some potential in it. But be realistic. That is 1 in 100, 1 in 1,000, 1 in a million. They got the timing right. They got the product right. They got the technology right. Hence, they are valued. Everyone may not get the timing right, the product right, or the technical novelty of your product right so perfectly. So even if you have a normal valuation, go ahead. Secondly, I do a lot of work related to startup. When you're very valued highly in the initial phase, be careful. No one is pumping this 10 million in you for fun. He wants 100 million back. So if I'm pumping 10 million and 100 million, there's a lot of pressure on you now to be 1 billion. You want the pressure in the early stages of your growth, or you want pressure slowly? Once pressure builds up, you end up doing certain things which are not great. Sometimes a high valuation can be a very dangerous thing for a company. I don't know you're getting what I'm trying to say. This you have to take things with a pinch of salt. I know investors and I know some startup guys who are valuing their company slowly. They say we will become 100 million after 10 years. I am not in a rush to do 1 million. When I become a billionaire in a year or something. Sounds cool and all that. Puts a letter pressure on my top line, my bottom line, on my team. I want to grow gradually. That is more sustainable. There are money schools of thought.
All right. So you are also mentoring a lot of young entrepreneurs?
Officially, unofficially, I'm involved in a few things.
So what kind of qualities do you look for in them when you want to find the right talent?
First and only most important talent of an entrepreneur is how many times you can hear no. Once, twice, thrice, 4, 5, 10. How many times you can hear no and go on. Sounds very prophetic, but it's a very fact about business. Business is about failure. It's not about success. Success is what people see. I told you, we got 10 things right, 20 things wrong. We hit 19. Thankfully, no one knows. There are students who come up and they're willing to hear no's. Those are very good students who can become entrepreneurs. Maybe not today, but tomorrow. Secondly, flexibility. You have a brilliant idea. The biggest problem, you know what in startup is? They don't start. Most kids don't start. They have, as you said, today million, billion people talk like this is nothing. You have 100 rupees in your pocket. Everyone talks in millions. That to US dollar. I don't know why. First talk in Indian rupees. Come down. So, see, this is a fact. This is called, it's a very irritating problem with kids nowadays. I think you are from Assam. Rupees mein baat karo na pehle. Come down to Assam. Then first thing is that you have to be flexible. You have a brilliant idea. That will cost 100 crores. Great. Won't happen aaj. Do a small idea. You want to open a 5-star hotel. I'll just simplifying it. Nahi hai paisa. Open a small B&B with 10 rooms. Uske liye to paisa hai. Start. No company becomes $1 billion with suddenly. Look at Amazon. Did they start as $1 billion valuation? Yeah. Business is a journey. Prophetic hai. People are saying what gyan I'm giving you. If you understand these basic things, you're cut out for business. You can hear no's, you can open to disappointment, you understand it's a journey. I start with perhaps a BNB. After 1 year, I realize, oh no, I have better acumen in another business. You're willing to shift? Great. Flipkart started as what? Only retailing books? Do they retail books nowadays? It's about flexibility. You don't know where business will take you. I cannot answer that. You think a market has a potential in X, so you get the market has a potential in Y. So if you're flexible, you're willing to take no's.
All right. Okay. And then, of course, you've been in Guwahati for a very long time, born and raised here. Coming maybe to more infrastructure, more city-based question. What do you think is Guwahati's need of the hour? What kind of things do you think Guwahati is lacking?
Planning.
Planning? At which level?
I luckily stay exactly behind that lane that is always flooded.
Oh, acha. You don't want to take names.
I don't know. Guwahati needs planning. Guwahati is bursting with energy, economic activity. It's not planned. It is happening because perhaps the time has come for Guwahati to grow. It is the only large metropolis in the entire region. So it's growing, but there is no plan. Somewhere there needs to be a plan for the infrastructure part of it. I'm not saying government is not spending. They're really spending money on the city like crazy. Somewhere the plans are not happening. Flyover comes and they dig up the road. But somewhere something, or maybe too much is happening. That's why the planning is not happening. I don't know. I don't have a technical answer for it. But I would love to see Guwahati a little more better planned. Hoping a new Guwahati is coming up. Once this bridge comes up, there's a new Guwahati coming up on the other side. Maybe that would be much better planned. I don't think that would do wonders for everyone who lives in the city.
If you had a magic wand, what would be the one thing you would change about the city?
I don't have a magic wand. No one has a magic.
If you had a magic wand, that's why I put it in a hypothetical situation. No.
I would have larger roads, less traffic, no waterlogging. It's the same wish list that every Guwahatians had. Doesn't matter what you do in Guwahati, you suffer the same problems in the city.
But if you had a magic wand and you would change one thing about the education system, what would you?
Education system cannot be changed in a magic wand. It's a process. There are a lot of things which are not wrong with the education system. Firstly, stop vilifying it. Okay. We are in an Indian education system. People will say Harvard did this. Harvard is 500 years old. Their cost of education cost 1 crore. Our cost of education is 1 lakh. Do you really want to compare? So, this is the Indian education system. It is made for a country where per capita is 2-3 lakhs, whatever. Be realistic. 5 things are wrong, 5 things are not wrong. We have to educate, God knows what, 300-400 million in a year. It's a different model. So, let's be practical about it. Let's not vilify it. Let's not keep shouting everything is wrong. I am a product of the Indian education system. You are a product of the Indian education system. I don't think I'm dumb. I don't think I have any it's not that I don't understand anything. I don't think you are like that. So we are all product of the Indian education system. What we love doing is blaming the same education system that has kind of trained us. I see a huge irony in it.
All right then. So no magic wands for you. We love Guwahati, and of course, I think you have been one of the most fun guests and the most knowledgeable guests I've had the opportunity to speak with, JD.
I hope you don't say that to every guest.
No, I don't. You should go through all the episodes.
That's a lot of effort. I'm trusting you on
but
this.
Then trust is the main keyword in the.
So I'm trusting you on this.
All right then. Thank you so much for your time and a fantastic conversation.
Thank you so much.
For everyone who stuck around to the end of the episode, make sure to subscribe to the Gplus YouTube channel and of course follow us on the rest of the channels. This is me, Siddharth, signing off, and see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.